take one.
If IT didn't work and didn't function and didn't do what it had to do every day, your ATMs wouldn't be working, you wouldn't have anything available on digital channels, you know, it would be a massive issue for the UK economy.
These days technology is everywhere, from the mobile phone that you're holding in your hand or you have in your pocket right now, all the way up to the big systems that they have at banks which help to manage everyone's money. But ultimately, all of it is about helping users to do something.
Anything you touch, anything you do is IT related. IT can help eliminate and reduce poverty and can drive an economy. If you're somebody who wants to change the world, IT is a way to do that.
If you are naturally inquisitive, if you want innovation, cutting edge, excitement and fun, then IT is the place for you.
I think the world would be a very boring place without IT. Our social networking, the way that we interact with one another, so much gears around the technology that comes out of IT and out of the people that work within it.
You know, if you're looking for something exciting, that's worthwhile and makes a difference, I couldn't think of a better place to want to go.
Technology will always be about enabling people and users to do something.
IT provides the backbone for everything that we do. No organisation can survive without it. Whether it's the delivery of the telephony solution that sits on your desktop, whether it's the delivery of your desktop computer, whether it's the delivery of a major complex set of spreadsheets that support the trade floor environments or risk management.
It's the ability to improve how you live, how you work, how you do business with technology as the foundation.
When I was doing my GCSEs, I was still very balanced between arts and sciences, but for A-levels I did jump through into committing to sciences, and so I did a scientific degree as well. And I knew I didn't want to continue a career where I was only getting the logical, scientific problem solving. I really wanted to be able to engage with human beings and interact and solve business problems. IT for me, it's that balance between creativity and logical problem solving that really kind of gets me interested.
I really enjoy that combination of kind of left brain and right brain, doing the creative and doing the logically making it work in a kind of technical way.
I, as a child, was fascinated by computer games, but I never really was into coding. I still can't code. I then took a business route, ended up doing economics at A-level. I did business economics at university, and it became abundantly clear that if I wanted to be a part of advising businesses, I had to understand IT, the impact of IT.
Everything involves IT these days. There isn't any project that doesn't have an element of IT to it. It's a very good way to make a kind of big impact.
I never set out at kind of 16 and said I wanted to be in a career in IT. I wanted to be in something that interested me. The advice I always followed was do what you're good at and what you enjoy, and that happened to be IT. And gradually I've just moved through the process from GCSE to A-level to degree level to master's level and then into a role in IT, and it's all kind of very naturally fallen into place. Lloyds Banking Group offer a really diverse and unique graduate scheme that allows you to vary your different placements. When I was starting off my career, I wasn't sure on what area I'd want to specialise within, so having that ability to go and try out effectively different areas and see what I like and what I'm good at within the IT profession was a massive pull for me.
You've got social media and the whole sort of Facebook thing, Twitter, Facebook, the whole social networking phenomenon that's come out of nowhere in the last 4 or 5 years. You have mobile as another big trend where people are less bound by their location. They're unencumbered now by location. They can tend to do anything they want on the move. You then have this thing around big data or information and the ability to process massive amounts of information quickly on much faster technology. And then you have this thing called cloud computing. We need to be on top of these trends because customers are going to expect that they're able to get access to data through sort of a mobile device, be able to even use social networking techniques to be able to interact with the bank. And these are things that were very very conscious of, and we're constantly investing in innovative new practices to be able to keep with our customers' behaviours as they evolve.
We've gone from the traditional kind of everyone thinking that gamers are traditionally boys sitting in there, sitting at home eating pizza, just playing on their own, kind of with all their other kind of male friends, and it was typically just a male gaming environment. However, now with the kind of Nike Fitness things that have come on board, and now all the apps are on board as well, it's such a wider environment, and you've got grandma playing fitness games at the weekend or at Christmas when they come around. The whole family's playing together.
There's more data now than there has ever been in the entire years we've been on this planet. In the past 2 years, there's more data than ever. And the ability to consume all that data and make sense out of nonsense, in effect, is where the future is. So the ability to take all this data in the healthcare industry, to look at patterns and trends around how old you are, the types of illness you get, your environment, coupled with your social existence, coupled with mentally where you are, to predict the likelihood that you will get X disease or Y disease, and then utilizing that to come up with preventative measures. That is fascinating.
I would break it down into 3 really simple areas. You're designing, you're building, or you're selling a technology. The building is where the heavy lifting is needed, all the math skills and all the really difficult, chunky computer development stuff. In the designing and the selling areas, that's more where entrepreneurial behaviours or empathy and communication come in as skills that really help getting technologies out there.
There are so many different things that you can be involved in when you work in IT. There are obviously the old school programmers, the people that code and are able to write new systems for us. But there's also the people that manage the implementation of those projects, the people that design them for us. And then there are the people that, like myself, work in operations backgrounds and ensure that portfolios are delivered and we're able to know where we are and what we're doing.
It's not just a techie shop. It's not just technology people that have studied very technical things. There's a broad range of people we have. People who studied liberal arts have come into this organisation because they're very good at communicating and writing and facilitating and reading people well, that they're able to come into this organisation and function and add value.
There are so many different roles you can perform in an organisation. You can build hardware, you can build software, you can design solutions, you can project manage, you can become a business analyst, which means that you work with the business to understand what they need. So effectively it's, what do you need the technology solution to do for you?
IT is central to the functioning of a bank. Lloyds Banking Group's mission is to be the best bank for customers. The direction for Group IT is to put in customers first.
Lloyds Banking Group are the UK's largest retail bank. We've got 30 million customers and various high street brands that fit under the Lloyds Banking Group. Brands that you'll recognise such as Lloyds TSB, Halifax, Bank of Scotland, and Group IT, to put into context, fits to support all of those different brands.
The IT organisation is so large and so complex and so multi-dimensional. You know, we're larger than most technology companies.
We launched our first native mobile app last year. It was using a technique called augmented reality, which essentially allows you to, on your smartphone, be able to find a property in a much more effective way. So if you're looking to buy a house in a certain area, with the functions on your phone, you're able to show you on a map through the camera where the properties are that are for sale, and then you can click onto each of those little dots on the map and it can drill down and show you the property and give you instructions of how to get there. You can book a meeting with a mortgage consultant. Taking smartphone technology and cloud technology and merging it into a custom experience, it really makes a difference. And that's been tremendously exciting and satisfying to be able to be in a big sort of behemoth of a bank and do something as sexy and interesting as augmented reality.
My job role isn't coding, it's not the stereotypical programming role, and there's lots of different jobs outside of programming that effectively allow that code to be delivered into a stable environment where it all works. My role is in a design role in enterprise architecture, so we're looking at all of the systems hang together and all the different technology domains and where we should be pushing the strategy for those and making sure they align with the business needs.
Deloitte is a professional services firm, which means that we effectively sell the time and the skills and the experience of our people. When it comes to technology, we help our clients improve their businesses through the use of their internal technologies.
And it's really, really about serving businesses and understanding the technology that's out there and helping businesses harness that.
I now lead big teams of people that we'll put together to help a client develop the software they need to run their business. I have a big telecommunications client who, because of the way our world is changing, has moved into parts of the world that they weren't operating in before. So I went down to Brazil and spent a year and a half there helping them integrate the new business onto their finance platform, and then moved to Hong Kong actually and did the same thing in Asia Pacific. If you step back and think wider around the impact of that work, that has helped introduce better telecommunications into 35 of this world's developing nations. And better telecommunications means business coming into those countries. That means employment, and it means better quality of life. So in some ways I've impacted a whole load of countries just with that small project in a really positive way.
I was asked to go and evaluate the operations and security of a company that builds spaceships. So I was packed off on a plane, ended up in this clearing in the middle of a bowl surrounded by mountains in forestry that was only really accessible by this one train line that you could get into there. So all very top secret. So I came in, I wrote, not like a code program, but I wrote a basically review work program, just effectively scoring how they did, and then made a whole lot of recommendations to them off the back of it about how they could reduce the risks of how they operate.
Deloitte has a program called the Social Innovation Pioneers, where we work with 30 social enterprises from across the UK and mentor them with advice and strategy from all of the different departments. The Social Innovation Pioneer that I'm working with, they make these bags and other products like this out of recycled fire hose. Their whole mission is to recycle as many different products and to turn them into luxury items, and then they donate 50% of the profits back to relevant charities.
Microsoft's aiming to do two things. One, be in the devices business. So anything from your mobile device and the experience on your mobile device to a tablet. On the other side, we're also a services company. And so we provide a service, whether it's a cloud service or a service to a large-scale customer. We offer you a series of experiences and tools to run your business.
Cyber forensics is a field of computer science that has evolved to help solve a legal question. If you imagine a murder scene, then a bug spatter analyst, like for example the TV character Dexter, would be considered a forensic analyst, as would pathologists, ballistic experts and the like. In crime scenes today, however, digital media tends to feature very prominently, so a cyber security analyst would be called on to examine the evidence for clues as to what happened. It's a little bit like being a CSI of the digital world.
Everyone's heard of Office and Windows and our different operating systems. But however, under that umbrella, there's an awful lot of things that people don't necessarily know are associated with Microsoft. For example, Xbox. Not everyone knows that Xbox is owned by Microsoft. I'm a global application release manager for Xbox. The iPlayer already had a well-established application already, but they needed to change it so that it would fit in with our Xbox platform, and it would pass all of our internal tests and certifications. So they came to us with the idea, everyone sat down and kind of discussed it, and then we all had to sit down and agree on time frames when they were going to submit certain bits of their application for us to test, helping them fix bugs and things that weren't working properly, and then eventually getting to the stage where the app was ready to be launched, and then working with the marketing teams, making sure that the advertising on the telly was correct and that they could say iPlayer's coming on this date and this date, working with newspapers, Twitter, social media, getting everyone ready for the launch. You get to go to London, you get to go, well, wherever there's a great big launch, you meet celebrities. I've met Jonathan Ross through work, I've met numerous celebrities through work.
The other thing Microsoft is about is giving back. We give back in many different ways. We give to charities, we give to schools, we give in Africa, in Asia.
Giving them access to IT infrastructure so that they can then develop their skills and try and help better their lives.
I really love the kind of puzzle element to when you're coding. So when I'm writing front-end code, if you can make something work, it is like getting a really difficult puzzle right, and it feels really, really good.
One of the things I love about working in IT is the creativity, the buzz of working in a team and solving problems together, the way that group thinking evolves when you're in that team environment, solving a problem together. I remember doing similar kind of work actually in school when you have those kind of group assignments in school, and it's like that but so much bigger and better and more exciting.
Every day when I get up I know I'm going to be faced with a brand new challenge, which is quite good. And again, I'm working with kind of like the forefront of technology, the Love Film, the Blinkbox, the iPlayer, Channel 4, Channel 5. People often kind of ask about my job, and it's quite an exciting area to be in, so people are always kind of curious. Whenever I go to a house party or whatever, people are always asking what's going on in the world of Xbox, what's coming next.
You know, when I was younger, my dad gave me this big thick book, and it was about the world. And it had really nice glossy pictures of anything from the Khyber Pass all the way to the Mayan temples. And I used to say, wow, am I ever going to see all these places, Easter Island, all these places. Now I've been in IT a long time. I've seen most of those places in that book. I go to China, I go to India, I go to Brazil, I go to Russia. I go everywhere. That's the best part of my job.
You don't have to be the next huge thing to make decent money in the IT industry. You don't need to be Bill Gates. For me, having worked in IT for 14 years, I'm earning 4 times as much money as I was when I started.
Your salary ratchets up and up and up as you get more and more senior. Again, the speed of your progression is not to do with how old you are or how long you've been here, it's to do with your aptitude.
There's also the personal reward that I get from turning on the Xbox and knowing that whatever applications anyone is watching is all down to kind of my input as well, so that's a personal reward. And seeing my mum as well say to her friends, oh, the BBC iPlayer on the Xbox, yeah, that's my daughter. So seeing even my mum kind of being quite proud of what I do as well is quite good.
Personally, I quite enjoy knowing how things work when you're using them, so having to think about when you put your card into a cash machine, what's happening back there for cash to come out. So being able to come into work and looking at how all these systems hang together and then going out and using them is something that I find quite rewarding.
If you look at, I'd say 80% of the companies and entrepreneurs who've started today, all of them have had a component of IT in what they've done. Quite wealthy, aren't they? I'd say that it is one of the most rewarding careers today.
Don't be afraid of the unknown. I really didn't know what I was getting into, and I certainly couldn't have predicted what my specialism would become when I got into the IT industry. I just knew I wanted to do it and find things out.
When you're wandering around, appreciate all that is IT around, and then start thinking, that's brilliant, but what if? Push the boundaries of what you're seeing with IT all around you, get to understanding it, and start thinking about ideas of how to improve it.
Read everything you can lay your hands on. Be curious about everything that there is to go out there. I mean, certainly the internet is an amazing source for research material.
When Microsoft interviewed me, I think it wasn't my passion for technology that shone through, it was the fact that I just had a yearning to learn and to develop myself and progress whatever way, and a willingness and an eagerness to get there. So regardless of what course you do, I think it's just important that you do something that kind of keeps you progressing, keeps your brain ticking, keeps you focused and energised.
There's 2 main ways into IT. You can either do your GCSE and A-levels and then complete your education there and move into an internship or apprenticeship with a company like Lloyds Banking Group, or you can go and do a degree at university. That generally puts you coming in at a higher position, and you can join, for example, like I did, the graduate leadership programme in IT. You can then do your rotations and move up that way.
If you're looking at those more hardcore elements of IT, which is required to basically build programs and code and everything else as well, yes, evidently you need to have those abilities. But there is a vast area of IT, the majority of the area of IT that is really the implementation of IT and using technology to further business. To do that, you just have to have an appreciation of what IT is and the power of it.
You always manage to tailor your capabilities and your strengths and your weaknesses into different roles themselves. My criminology was a lot of investigative work. I suppose the investigative work can be transpired to kind of me doing a lot of research into certain areas of the business now that I have to do every day. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that you've gone to university to do an IT degree. You can still get in other ways.
What we aim to do is give as many options to those within education as humanly possible to come in and sample what we have and get their career going whenever they see fit and when they think they are ready to start work.
We have an initiative called Right Start for school leavers, and so we bring fresh talent into our firm both as school leavers and university leavers.
There's so much information that you get for free from employers' websites that just students don't take the time to look at. So much, it even tells you the format of when you get interviewed, probably what you're going to get asked. Go on to some employer websites, have a look at the graduate recruitment sections there, and you'll find out about all the different schemes that are there. If you have to meet certain criteria, what are those criteria? What are you going to have to go through? You know, and what are the support packages that are out there? Because you might think, oh, I can't afford to go to university, or whatever it might be, but there may be support packages out there that allow you to go to university.
I think anyone who has a passion for technology and is interested in how things work, so how their apps work, how the games work, how the websites that they browse work, and is able to combine that with a willingness to learn, then I think they're a good fit, because a lot of what we do is right on the cutting edge of what's being done, and so no one really knows how to do it, and so you're going to have to be learning on the job as you go.
The IT industry is definitely very, very diverse. The different people that I've met along the way that have surprised me, from the really timid girl in the corner who I find out is actually a massive code breaker and she's writing loads of code and developing apps, to a guy who I'd think would be a coder, and actually it turns out he works in marketing. We've actually got a gentleman who works here who's blind, and he's written numerous theses and papers, and yeah, he's been working here for years. We've got a couple of guys actually that are blind, so even with a disability you can still work in the IT industry happily.
I've seen diversity in terms of race, gender, political beliefs, religion, geography. So I would say it's a very, very diverse industry.
Diversity of thought and diversity gives you creativity, gives you different outcomes, gives you innovation. IT is male dominated, but it is changing, and we need to change the face of IT because we want women to feel that it's a compelling career for them.
Although women are increasingly consumers of IT, we're still vastly underrepresented in terms of the teams of people innovating that IT. And imagine what we could do if we were actually more involved as women in that innovation cycle.
Women are put off because they see that it's male dominated. I think that organisations are trying to position themselves much more to make it a compelling career for women.
Since I joined the bank 5 years ago, I've seen a large influx of women and the development of women within the industry. We've got a number of different initiatives that make sure that women are being given that opportunity to reach the top table.
At the moment we're running a programme where we are profiling about 120 of our most senior women across IT, and out of that profiling will come a view of which of those women have the potential to get to the next grade or to be the next IT board member. In order to help them to develop in that way, we'll be providing them with gender-specific training.
I recently actually have been on a course in London learning how to code. Through the Microsoft Women initiative, they asked for women that kind of wanted to get into certain areas of technology to broaden their skills and their horizons, so I was sent off to London to do a day of coding, and it was aimed at people that have never coded anything in their lives. And by the end of the day I'd written my own app that I went home and I had it on my phone and I could show my friends, look at this app that I built. No one believed that I actually wrote it myself, but I'm safe in the knowledge I did.
I would see being a woman as a positive. There's recognition now that we do need to have a diverse workforce, and there is no reason why you can't be successful.
The world is an increasingly competitive environment. People need to take the education and the opportunities that are put in front of them more seriously. You know, the Skills Council, the employers can work tirelessly to put these opportunities out in front of you. but unless you take them, you're doing yourself and your career a massive disservice, and you might find yourself unemployable by the time you actually get out of university, because a whole lot of other people have taken those opportunities around you.
Do something you love and something that you believe you can be good at. You spend more time at work than you do anywhere else in your life, and it's important that it's something you enjoy.
Follow your heart and take your opportunities. Don't feel that you have to go down a path of mathematics because your father says you have to. You need to be involved in something that you truly feel passionate about.
Keep an open mind and don't be afraid of what you don't know.
Take risks. Go for things even though you're not sure you can do them 100%.
I've had a fantastic journey here. I've enjoyed it immensely, being able to do some really interesting, challenging, personally stretching things. It's developed me as an individual, professionally and personally.
When Mark designed Facebook, how old was he? He wasn't even 21. So just think about the possibilities that you at 15 can have now with technology. IT is a catalyst for changing our world. So just think about the impact you can have on society if you go into an industry such as IT.